Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. I guess I can't say lovely. That I'll leave that for you guys to judge. But welcome to the Sprint Review and Retrospective.
It's really more like evening at this point because we are getting a late start due to conflicts in business life and everything else, but we're here nonetheless.
Yes, we are, and I'm excited to be here. How about we take a quick look at our OPEM and start out with where we are at, unless you have different plans.
Sure, we can come up here to the top and see what was on deck. We were supposed to establish a specific achievable targets for our identified financial goal metrics. We were also supposed to determine how we measure progress toward and know when we have achieved our aspirational identity. And finally, we were supposed to review competitor names and identify important keywords for our business.
Now, if any of you caught on to his wording, it might sound like we did not complete all those things. And alas, we did not.
What did we finish, Austin?
Well, we got our keywords figured out. And we also reviewed competitor names.
Okay, well, let's start by talking a little bit about that subject then. And so I'm going to come over here, and we have several focus areas that we think our business will ultimately cover. We want to cover things from the perspective of a broad scope, not going deep. And so you see things like leadership and personal effectiveness and brand strategy and marketing and media design and success systems, those types of things. And we reviewed the names of different people who compete in those areas. Now, we will never compete directly with any of these people because these people are the specialists in each of their areas, and we're looking to kind of be the welcoming, introducing generalists that provide detail about all these different areas. But these are the gurus, if you will, in the areas that we have been thinking about. Austin, what did we observe about the naming of businesses?
Well, Father, one of the things that we observed is that our personal preference is not to focus on people's names, and also we want to focus on telling our story as opposed to a cryptic name.
Telling whose story?
Sorry, let me rephrase that. Telling the story that our heroes, our customers are going through, as opposed to telling or saying our name or having a cryptic message as our brand name.
Yeah, so we saw, for our industry at least, three general themes, and we could probably come up with a fourth one, that people named their businesses after the founder, or they came up with some mishmash of words that had nothing to do with it, like map and fire, or circle pie in our case, or they came up with a keyword-based name, and then the other one is they just kind of made up gibberty-gush, and I think it was the third one, using a keyword-based name that really seemed to be most interesting to our team.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did we do next, Austin?
We discussed the names and we wrote down the keywords from the names.
And what we thought were keywords for us, not necessarily their keywords, right?
Yep.
And we came up with a couple of dozen different keywords, and on that couple of dozen keywords, what we found was, there's probably a dozen or so that are particularly meaningful to us. Things like family and legacy. I mean, our whole purpose is to help families leave a legacy for future generations. And we know that takes accountability, and a network helps with that. And business is how we get there. And business needs branding and marketing and leadership. And we love teaching and mentoring. And we know that there are heroes in our customer base, and that they're trying to bootstrap their businesses and they need systems. So there was, a dozen and a half keywords that stood out to us. The challenge was we never found a good way to put them together in a method that made a name. But that is part of next week's activity. So as far as naming this week, I think we actually finished that activity. And you don't need our stream operation guide today. And we can come up here and say that this activity is done, which, is kind of a happy day to start out with a win. Now, Austin, tell me, how did we do with the rest of the things that were on our list this week?
The best way I can say is we made attempts. With our my brain just paused. But with establishing metrics for moving forward, we found different metrics and stuff. Am I looking at the wrong thing? Financial metrics is the one that I'm looking. And we just haven't been able to find the correct way to measure our metrics yet. This whole thing of complicated math, Father's concerned that based off of the numbers, it won't work, and so we're wondering if this is the correct way to measure the metrics.
Yeah, there's different things that don't add up, and the challenge is blending a whole bunch of things together. For example, maybe this only represents a portion of our revenue, therefore we got to take that into account. And new business, new customers only represent a portion of our revenue, so we got to figure out how to incorporate repeating business, and so forth and so on. And do we want to look at a monthly versus an annual for our order value? So there's lots of things, just little itty bitty details to even try and find math that works here. And so we're struggling, or I'm struggling. Austin's not struggling. Austin gets it. He just can't communicate it to me.
I wish that was the case. I struggle as much as you do with finding metrics to measure properly.
So what are we going to do about this conundrum, Austin?
Double down and figure it out.
Okay, so we're not closing this particular activity then.
No.
We're going to keep working on it. Okay, what about our last activity about measuring progress toward our aspirational identity as an organization?
I feel like we made very little work on this one.
I don't think we even started. We
Yeah.
didn't even open it up. So I think maybe, we could talk about planning now, but we're not going to. We're going to talk about retrospective. It feels pretty bad when you only get one of 3 activities done for a week. And so we got to ask our question, why, Austin? If we look at it from a retrospective perspective, that always sounds so funny. If we look at it through the lens of our retrospective, what do we learn? What went wrong? Did anything go wrong? I mean, just tell me about it.
Well, I can say a couple of things got in the way at least. Number one, the first thing would probably be the fact that we have a lack of understanding about our metrics and what metrics we should truly measure. That is leading to us having to spend extra time trying to figure out and learn the metrics. The second thing is that we had some holiday time. That holiday time we really didn't account for, and it put us a little bit behind.
Okay, so we need to be better about thinking about holidays in our planning. Okay, anything else?
To my knowledge, that was the most of what was in the way. Is there anything else that you think was in the way?
Well, I think we haven't had the opportunity to collaborate this week like we normally do because of scheduling issues. And then, we've added additional things to life that are keeping us busy too. And so I think schedule was a big one as well. So is that schedule going to continue being in the way?
At least my schedule isn't.
It will be for at least 2 more days, won't it?
Tomorrow.
Friday, you're back to normal?
I'm off of work on Friday.
Okay, so we'll have to make a big effort to get caught up on Friday then.
I do have plans on Friday, though.
So there it is, your schedule's in the way.
But all my plans are after 12.
Okay, well, we'll consider that then. As far as holidays, I guess we just need to be better about scheduling and planning. And I guess we just have to double down and get back on track. And as far as learning goes, it is what it is. So, okay, so we are going to cut off there, I guess, Austin, because if we didn't, we'd be moving into planning, and that's not what today is about. The other thing from a retrospective perspective, I think we still need to find people or additional people to help us evaluate and improve the quality of where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have anything else you want to add today?
I do not. Do you?
Nope. That's all, folks.
Hasta la vista.